I've recently become aware of something and now I can't unsee it. I've been quiet and I've been seeing this a lot in our customers and the women in our community. We've been quiet, not because life is hard, but because the opposite, because it's so profoundly good. Most people don't talk about this, that when life is so abundantly good, we can kind of isolate ourselves because we don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. And I know that a lot of you listening, you're in a hard season of your life. I have so much empathy for where you are because I was there. I lived in that really, really hard season. I lived in survival mode with my son for 2.5 years. Gosh, I lived the majority of my life with an imbalance impacting me in more ways than I can even list without even knowing it. And now that I've made it to the other side, I find that over the years, I have been holding back parts of my life because I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. I didn't want to be insensitive to the season that you are in. I didn't want to create a distance between you and me. But what I recently realized is that me hiding my current reality, my current life, this doesn't actually serve you. It keeps you anchored in survival instead of showing you what's possible beyond it. Welcome to the Follow Your Gut podcast, the show for the woman who's ready to stop outsourcing her and her family's health and start leading it. I'm your host, Juniper. Every week, I'll teach you how to understand your body and your child's symptoms through the lens of the gut so you can take clear, confident steps towards real healing. This isn't about chasing symptoms or following trendy protocols. This is about foundational healing, where we get to the root of it all, your gut. I am so happy you're here. Let's dive in. I'm done hiding. I'm done being untrue to myself in the season of life that I am in with good intention, but it's not serving anyone. It's not serving me, and it's definitely underserving you. We all find so much hope when we find inspiration in others. So today I want to paint a picture of what my life now is because I embody everything that I teach and everything that I share on every single episode, what this has created for me and my family. I have the capacity to lead a global health movement. Now, if you asked myself this, even 7 years ago, there's no way. I lived my entire life consumed with a very chaotic ADHD brain that didn't have the capacity to finish a small task like folding laundry, let alone building a passion-led business from my heart and sharing it. I have the capacity to lead this, to have built this from nothing into a global health movement that is literally touching every corner of the globe. We have orders going out to countries around the world every single day. We have an entire team that is now not only experiencing balance in their own lives and in their families, but they are making their livelihood by sharing this healing and growing this impact. I never knew that I would someday be an entrepreneur and a business owner and the leader of a health movement. That was beyond my wildest dreams. I could have never imagined. But today, I am able to do this with so much grace and so much self-love and this unstoppable passion to learn more and keep expanding myself and my impact because I embody the healing that I show up to share every single day. Ty and I are able to homeschool our children, and support our daughter in going to an independent high school where she's one of 14 students and gets to travel the world with her school and learn out in the field. I just want to pause to share a story. The other day, Ty called me just dying laughing. And he's like, babe, this is the perfect story, the perfect example of what it feels like to be a dad to a 15-year-old girl. Our daughter asked him if she could borrow his coat. It had snowed. It's the middle of April and it snowed. And she said, hey, Dad, can I borrow your coat? And inside, he was just elated. He was so happy to be such a hip dad that his 15-year-old daughter wants to borrow his coat. And then it later came out so at their school every quarter, they have 4 immersives. They get to choose 2 of the 4. And one of her immersives is a llama class where they get to learn how to take care of llamas and go backpacking with llamas. And it turns out that she wanted to wear his coat because she didn't want to get her coat dirty at llama class. We get to participate so fully, deeply engaged and connected in our kids' lives because our guts are in balance, because we have clarity. Our gut-brain connection is so clear that we sleep amazing. We feel regulated in ourselves. And I say all of this while also wanting you to know our life isn't perfect. We are not perfect. We are not perfect parents. Of course, I get upset. Of course, I sometimes behave in ways that I'm not proud of, and I apologize to my children. Of course, we have up times and down times. I'm not trying to paint the false illusion of a perfect life. What I'm wanting to share with you here is what becomes possible when you heal your body from the inside out. And that voice inside of you that questions everything that you've always done, it goes away. And your passions and your purpose and who you truly are in the depths of your being, who you were born to be, comes alive. So right now we've been in the process of building this really big barn on our property because our son is very passionately into skateboarding, specifically vert skating. So really tall vert ramps. And there isn't a vert ramp in Montana. And so we set out on a mission to bring space for his passion to be alive here. And now with this part of our current life, what's currently happening in our life, I just want to take you back a little ways. So something that we do in our family every day is we sit down and we eat breakfast together. And at breakfast, we say our daily affirmations. We share something that we're grateful for. And let me be a little bit more specific. We share a person, a feeling, or an experience that we are grateful for, and something that we are happy that's happening for us. For years, my son's affirmation was, I'm so happy I am on the Braille skateboarding team. Now, if you know skateboarding, you know, Braille was a very big skateboarding team on YouTube. They made these very sweet, innocent, fun skateboarding videos. And when my son was first getting into skateboarding, Braille was that's where he found his inspiration and learned new tricks. And he loved this team. Well, it's about 2 years ago, we came up with the idea of figuring out how to bring a space here for our son to pursue his passion of vert skating. And I knew that the founder of this Braille skate team was from Montana, so I reached out to him and said, we're building an indoor vert skate ramp in Montana. Are you interested in being part of this at all? And he said, we're actually looking to get rid of our vert ramp. Do you guys want it? So my husband and son drove to California. My son got to hang out with the team for a full weekend, disassemble this giant 11.5-foot vert ramp, and pack it up to bring it home to Montana. It's 17,000 pounds of wood. And it took several trips to figure out the logistics of getting it home. It was a big deal. That ramp has sat in our garage for over 2 years in a big pile of wood. We finally built this barn, and we have big visions for this barn. It's not just for this vert skate ramp. All of our kids are on the climbing team and are very passionate about bouldering and rock climbing. And so underneath one side of the vert ramp, we're building a rock climbing, like a bouldering wall. And we might get a kilter board in there. And there's going to be, one of our children, he's an artist, and he really, really wants to get more into pottery. And unfortunately, there isn't anywhere here in our town that teaches the pottery wheel. It's just hand clay work, which is beautiful, but he wants to use a wheel. And so we'll have our own little pottery studio in there where he can experiment and learn, and his passions can come alive. It's basically like our own family rec center, but it doesn't stop there. Eventually, we will host only retreats, and it'll be a very safe and sacred space where all of us warrior women and families can gather to relish in abundance and how far we've come and what we have overcome. So with that, we of course need a kitchen in the barn because we're going to be cooking a whole lot of abundant microbiome friendly foods when we have these retreats, right? This barn went up. The ramp is going up. We shared it with our there's a local nonprofit skate alliance, and we've been including them and telling them about the build of this barn and what we're doing, because it's literally the only indoor vert skate ramp in the entire state of Montana. And this is a beautiful opportunity for the entire skate community. So we shared with them that it's going up and that we're going to start building it on this certain day. And 30 people showed up. You guys, we live in the middle of nowhere. These people dedicated their entire Sunday to come and move 17,000 pounds of wood out of our garage and into the barn and start laying out the ramp. That was that was a very surreal day for me. Looking at all of these people, so grateful to be there and so in awe of everything that's going on. That was really the moment where I was like, wait a minute, I've been hiding. I feel the magnitude and the gratitude of what our life has become, but it kind of falls into the shadows of feeling almost mundane. And it's not that I'm not grateful for it. It's that I forget that this is the life that is so far beyond the wildest dreams I could have ever had in the early days of motherhood. And when my child was living in pure survival mode, my whole family was in survival mode with him. And that was when I realized that I've been hiding. I've been hiding in fear of not wanting to be too much, of not wanting to be insensitive to the season that you are in. But when we shrink ourselves, when we hide ourselves behind the beautiful that actually is today, we're not serving anyone. As human beings, we are designed to always be expanding. To be alive is to be expanding. And expanding is hard, but it's also beautiful. And I am ready to hold space not only for myself, but for you to step into this expansion and have space to voice the hard and the beautiful and the beautiful and the hard. Even if it doesn't look like a rash that's consuming your body, because you guys, that was my hard. The reason that it's no longer my family's hard, and the reason that symptoms are no longer consuming our life, and the reason that we now experience the beautiful hard is because we healed, is because we continue to nurture our microbiome, our gut balance every single day. This is the abundance of freedom, of health freedom, of life freedom that comes with balance. Okay, so one other part of abundance that I just want to share with you that's happening right now is at the beginning of the year, I invested in a high-level mastermind where I am with 12 other women who are leading the most beautiful impact with their passion-led businesses. And I will be the first to tell you how powerful it is to surround yourself with people who inspire you. This isn't always easy because the more immersed you get with people who are aligned with your values and your visions and with the impact that you want to make, that you know you are destined to make. And this doesn't always mean business. Maybe a business isn't in your future, but pursuing a passion, sharing your passion, letting you radiate out of you and become a magnet for the world around you. You were born with a purpose. And again, this doesn't always mean being a business owner. But whatever it looks like for you, healing your body so that the truest form of you can radiate out of you, that is how you make an impact in the world. And as soon as you start doing that, you become starkly aware of the relationships around you that don't support that. And conversations can get hard. There's times where I find myself leaving a room because everything being talked about is negative. Politics, the weather. I mean, how many times have I heard it this year? How scary and how horrible it is that we had such a warm winter. I know we had a warm winter. It was a beautiful winter. We got to mountain bike in January in Montana. It was phenomenal. I am choosing to live in the vibration of gratitude for what is, because me talking about it and complaining and saying how scared and being fearful of what the weather is, that's not going to change the weather. It's not going to change what spring brings or what summer is. But me being able to be fully in it and find joy in what is allows me to share my radiance with the world. And gosh, if we have the power to make any kind of impact in the universe and in the weather, it's doing that. It's not sitting there focusing on the fear of what is. I have to leave those conversations. I'm not participating in them anymore. I'm not pretending to agree. Expanding brings out the best in you, and the whole world isn't ready to see it, and that's okay. You can let them go. You can let them go, and you can put yourself in spaces where your light can shine, where you can participate in conversations that feel good in your body. You don't owe a negative conversation to anyone. I share all of this because I am ready to fully, authentically, so vulnerably share myself with the world and share my radiance and stop speaking just about the hard that we went through to get to this most beautiful place that we are now. Because this is the life that comes after doing the hard work, after facing symptoms instead of masking them, of actually going to the root of the body and allowing the body to heal. I know that so many of you listening, you have been feeling this yourselves. You have experienced the healing. You are now in a new place. You have passions that feel so alive that you don't know what to do with them, but they're trying to burst out of you. You see the sun through the clouds. You see the rainbow. You see the light. And there hasn't been space for you to share it, to speak about it. I am here to normalize the beauty that comes when you heal the body. And I am here to inspire you, to show you what is possible when you face the body, when you listen to the body, when you see the symptoms as communication and you heal. This life, it isn't just for someone else. It isn't just for me. It isn't that my family got lucky. This is the result of choosing to face what was hard over and over again. Healing wasn't the goal. This life, this abundant life, this was the goal. And all of this is just our life as a whole and the transformations of the mom that I went from being to the woman that I am now. None of this is to mention my son that I speak about so often and how he went from living in survival mode, from declining, and his list of symptoms growing and growing and growing, and his cognitive function going down, and his ability to speak and his development becoming more and more delayed, and his behavior is becoming more explosive, to the child that he is and the opportunities that have come forward for him because his body is healed, because his body is in balance. He went from being a child that was undoubtedly going to experience childhood cancer or lifelong autoimmune conditions, there were times that I could feel it so deep in my gut, I was going to lose him. He went from being a child that couldn't sleep to today, he has unlimited opportunity laid in front of him. He went from being what public school would have called him behind, from not reading to he didn't learn to read until he was 11, and that's when his body was ready to read. And he went from not reading to reading The Hobbit in a weekend. This is a child who had so much fire and rage in his eyes and was so angry with the world, to now being the most shining light in the world. He is the most radiant human you could ever come across. He is so smart and kind and thoughtful and delightful, and he sleeps, and he has the most beautiful, smooth skin. And he has so many passions that he is able to pursue, skateboarding being one of them. But he is a very avid mountain biker. The other day, he was on the computer and I asked what he was researching. And he said, well, he's on a local mountain bike team. And last year was his first year participating. And he said, I really want to train to be able to really compete with my competition. And so I'm looking at everyone's race scores from last year so that I know how fast I need to go this year, because I'm going to win this year. It's not about the winning. It's about him having the pure confidence and the thoughtfulness. I would have never thought to look at last year's race times to set goals for my training for this year. He's 12. He's 12 years old. And hearing him process his emotions and seeing him regulate his body in really beautiful, healthy ways. And when his energy needs to move, he moves his energy. And the self-awareness that he has, he is unstoppable. The same is true for all of my children because of what we have learned in going through this journey. I can't tell you how many women message me after rebalancing and share how alive they feel, that they are so full of passion and they are now starting their own business or finally pursuing their dreams. When your gut is in balance, your gut-brain connection becomes clear. Your nervous system experiences more regulation than you have likely ever felt in your life. And you find the capacity to be who you have always known you were meant to be. And I want to talk a little bit about the financial freedom that comes with healing, because we didn't have money. We don't have family money. We weren't given anything. No one bought our home or our land for us. No one loaned us money to build a business or build a barn. When you show up and you heal your body from the inside out, and you have the capacity and the clarity to show up for your life purpose, you become a magnet of happiness, a magnet of abundance, a magnet of money, a magnet of all things good and beautiful. And I will say this again and again. This isn't just, oh, you got lucky, Juniper. This is not luck. This is what we have created, and what I have had the gut brain clarity to create by living this healing that I share every single day. Now, the way that I have been hiding, and my choice to no longer participate in this, I want to invite you to join me. I want to invite you to say no more of this. I want you to look at where you've been hiding, even in small ways. Maybe it's not a barn or building a skate ramp. Maybe it's small wins. It's a full night's sleep. It's fewer pimples. It's finding more joy cooking with your children, or your child who now giggles more than they scream. All of this matters and deserves to be seen. It deserves to be celebrated. And I'm not meaning that you have to create a highlight reel on your social media. I'm meaning when someone asks you how you're doing, give yourself full permission to answer honestly. We are the only ones who can raise ourselves up. And we do this by being honest about the good and stop minimizing to conform or to be empathetic to what someone else is going through. Of course, we can always hold space for the other people in their heart and what they are experiencing. But part of healing is becoming the inspiration. For me, this looks like a big shift in how I'm showing up in all areas of my life, including personal conversations and relationships and on social media, because who I show up as on social media is who I am in my real life. My voice on this podcast, this is me. This is who I am in my real life. But I haven't been sharing that. I've been hiding. I've been hiding behind the story of who I once was and the life that we once had. I am no longer speaking from being relatable to when I was in survival mode. I am speaking from leadership, from embodiment, from lived experience on both sides. Because healing isn't just about removing symptoms. It's about expanding into a life that actually feels good to live. And while I have always had the best of intentions, I am no longer willing to hide what that actually looks like. This episode isn't about me, though. It's about you and you, babe. It's about you allowing yourself to step fully into who you were always meant to be. So stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to me, that beautiful influencer you follow on Instagram, your sister, your neighbor, and even the version of you that once was. Let yourself be free to unapologetically live your one and only precious life for you to the absolute fullest. Before we wrap up, I love closing out the episode with your transformations and answers to your questions. This is my favorite way to stay connected with you and to support you no matter where you are in your healing journey. If you want to submit a question, I open up a question box every month on my Instagram stories, so watch for that. Submit your questions and make sure you are subscribed to the podcast so you are sure to hear the answers. Now, let's get into it. A transformation and a question asked by so many of you in last month's question box. Everyone is on their own healing timeline, so don't compare your journey or your timeline to this transformation. But it can be really encouraging, really inspiring to hear transformations like this. Here's what this customer said. Do you think your cleanse helps with heavy periods? I'm only 2 weeks in. I've never had this good of a period. Yes, rebalancing can absolutely support all kinds of periods. What most of us were never taught is that the gut plays a major role in hormone regulation, especially estrogen. When the gut is imbalanced, the body struggles to properly detox excess estrogen, which can lead to heavier, longer, or more painful cycles. At the same time, nutrient and mineral deficiencies also play a really critical role. When the body is imbalanced, it can't absorb the nutrients that it needs from your food or even supplements that you're taking, which all comes together and means that your body can't regulate your cycle optimally. When you rebalance your gut, you are clearing the bad bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, parasites, heavy metals, and toxins that interfere with hormone balance, while also restoring the good bacteria and improving your body's ability to absorb nutrients. As that foundation strengthens, so many women start to see their cycles regulate. Now for our question of the week. I keep getting pulled back to your products. I have a PANS kiddo living in mold, suffering from asthma. I'm just so nervous to give him anything not overseen by a practitioner. I'm so nervous to mess up because he has so much going on. I understand this so deeply, but I am going to be really, really honest with you. There is a reason you keep getting pulled back here. And there is also a reason your child isn't healed yet with a practitioner's oversight. And it's not because you have failed. It's not because you haven't tried hard enough. It's because our system isn't designed to heal. Our system is designed to medicate and to treat individual symptoms. Only exists for a reason. It took me 2.5 years and 17 different healthcare professionals to finally find an answer and learn how to truly heal my son. I was in your exact position, doing everything right. In cases like PANS, mold exposure, and asthma, the body is incredibly overwhelmed. The gut is imbalanced and severely inflamed. The immune system is constantly activated, and until that's addressed at the root, symptoms continue to layer. Rebalancing isn't about guessing. It's about systematically clearing the bad bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, parasites, heavy metals, and toxins while rebuilding the microbiome and calming the immune response. There are no risks to supporting the body through healing the gut. But the risks to leaving that imbalance are so significant, and symptoms will continue to stack. The course that comes with the Rebalance Kits and symptom-specific bundles will guide you through your entire journey. You are not alone in healing yourself or your child. My invitation to you is to follow your intuition. You know what your body needs. You know what your child's body needs. Your intuition will never do you wrong. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend or a family member who's ready to lead her family's healing. Everything mentioned in this episode is linked down below for you in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe to the Nourish newsletter, also linked down below, so you never miss an episode. I will email you the latest episode every Tuesday morning. Everything shared on this show is for educational purposes only, not intended as medical advice. Until next time, trust your body and follow your gut.